Hi, everybody. I'm Mitch Tannenbaum. This presentation is geared towards managed service providers. Those are the folks that help organizations run their IT infrastructure, either completely or partially. And specifically, we're talking about what the federal government is doing in terms of increased or enhanced cybersecurity requirements and the net effect of that on MSPs and the opportunity that represents for MSPs to generate new business. So I'm going to share my screen and start talking about it. So the DOD and the federal government in general need you now. Why? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. There's going to be vast new opportunities for MSPs who get ready now, who do the work that they need to do. And if you're interested in more detailed background on the subject, we have a full hour-long training video, or maybe even longer. Who we are, we're Hutcan Holding. We've been in the cybersecurity business for a long time. We have decades of experience. We operate multiple companies. We've been involved in the cyber AV since the very beginning, even when it was called the CMMC AV. We're a certified veteran-owned small business, and we have our own GSA mass contract. And you can find out more information about our capabilities at HutcanHoldingLLC.com. So the purpose today is twofold. One is to help MSPs understand the size of the federal government's need for MSPs, and that will increase. And specifically, we're not talking about the government itself, we're talking about government contractors and what will be required to compete for this new business. So who does it apply to? Well, it applies to MSPs who currently have customers who have current DOD or federal government contracts. Also to MSPs with customers who are seeking DOD and federal government contracts, and MSPs who want to compete themselves for DOD and federal government business. So that's a pretty broad spectrum of it. Also, MSPs that need to support companies and external service providers who need to be compliant with these new regulations. So we are involved in a global cyber war. It's not voluntary. It doesn't care whether you want to be in the cyber war or not. And if you are interested in reading our position paper, you can go to our website or you can ask us for it. Please do. Here's what we're going to talk about at a very high level. Let's start with the MSP opportunity. This is going to be a massive disruption because whenever the DOD changes, and they have a huge amount of business, we'll talk about that in a minute, it causes a disruption. Massive IP losses are forcing the U.S. government to mandate changes via laws and regulations and rules. DOD is the tip of the spear in this particular case, and the DOD's compliance process is very, very rigorous. And a large percentage of federal government contractors work for the DOD, and many of them are already in violation of their existing contracts. Why does the Fed think they can enforce this? Well, the federal government is the single largest individual part of the gross domestic product. It is the largest customer on earth. The DOD budget is a decent chunk of the federal budget, and the 30 million businesses and 6 million with at least one employee. These are all people who may potentially be interested in doing business with the government. So what is the mechanism that they're going to use to force this change? Well, they're going to leverage off of laws and executive orders, the government DOD's market size, the national security requirements, and the enforcement powers of the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice stood up an entire new branch just to go after people who are not following the rules. So that's, number one. They have already fined a number of companies, multiple millions of dollars over this. Initially, they're going to go talk to the primes because those are the folks that they know, and they're going to make the primes responsible for their subs, which is probably the right thing to do because the primes pick the subs. They are likely to go control new contractors and contractors first, but they're unlikely to go off and start off by amending existing contracts. I think that's fair. And they're going to enforce additional DOJ enforcement capability. Just as a side note, the DOD is leveraging private industry to help them with this. They have limited resources. So they have signed a contract with the Cyber AV to help them with the DID assessment process. And that's kind of the core, the notice of proposed rulemaking that came out in December of 2023, how that's going to work. So let's look at numbers that matter. These numbers came out of the 2023 CMMC 2.0 impact and cost analysis, and you can Google that and find a copy of it if you want to dig into the details. So the defense industrial base, to the best of the DOD's knowledge, is about 221,000 companies. Now, DOD is the first to admit that they have very limited visibility beyond the primes and maybe some of the first level and second level companies. So, we think there's another 200 or so thousand companies that aren't even counted here, not even counting the new companies that may want to get new business. And so, that brings that number up to about 400,000. And then the DOD is roping in all of the external service providers. That would include things like your antivirus vendor, your security vendor, your managed service provider. Those are all count, and there's a bunch of those. And so we think that number conservatively is about 800,000. That brings the base up to about 1.2 million. These are companies that are likely to need help. Some of them will do it themselves. Some of them will need help. But, that's the potential market share. And, our experience is that very few managed service providers are ready to be able to go fill this void. And if you decide that you're going to be one of those, you're going to be in high demand. So, the 208,000 that we came up with, that's 1/3 or 30% of the 670,000 folks that are in the SAM registry. Now, remember, there's a lot of people who don't receive a check directly from the federal government. They're not legally required to be in SAM. So that number, the 674,000, is actually really quite low. The number of people who, at all different levels down to that 14th level, the DOD is worried about is way more than 600,000. And then and some of those are these external service providers that are in the second bullet, 850,000. That just represents 2 pieces of software, 2 pieces of hardware, 2 vendors for each of the 400,000 contractors. That's probably pretty low. While there are about 40,000 MSPs in the United States, a very small percentage of them have a meaningful security program in the context of what's required for the government right now. This doesn't mean you don't have any security. It means based on what's required in the new regulations, most MSPs are not there. There is an organization brand new just announced called the MSP Collective. It is designed, it's really a lobbying group for MSPs, but they have information for MSPs improving their security practices and selling and that sort of thing. It is a membership-based organization. Membership is not cheap, but it may be of interest to some of you. Okay, so let's assume you're interested now. What do you do? What comes next? Well, number one is get management support, because without management support, it's not going to happen. And get internal funding, because there's going to be upfront costs you're going to need to deal with. You want to get better informed. This video is a piece of that, and we can help you with other pieces of it. Analyze the service costs. Now, the challenge is that the existing pricing model that you have will not serve this DoD customer base. There's much more required, and so you cannot do that at the existing prices. It's just not going to be profitable. You yourself need to become CMMC compliant, and potentially, if you have certain software, that software may need to be FedRAMP certified. You need to work on your internal management process. Look at the tools you use internally, the technical tools, and as well as the tools that you resell to your customers. Update your MSP client contract and move into the DoD ecosystem to offer your services. If you're interested in learning more, we have a whole bunch of information. Please ask us for this information. We also have more presentations that we can share with you. What about compliance costs? Well, like all good consultants, I'm going to say it depends. Legitimately, it does depend. What's your level of management commitment? How much resources do you have? How big is your MSP? How complex is your IT environment? So there's a lot of stuff, but as a swag, as a guideline, you could be really, really optimistic and do it in 3 months. I don't think that's likely, or it could take 18 months or potentially even longer, depending on, how much resources you have. So where do we fit in? Well, TAN Holding is a company that can help you become compliant. We have lots of resources that we can provide to you. We can consult with you. We can even do pre-certifications and see whether you're really ready when you think you are. So please reach out to us. We'll be happy to assist you. You can also become a partner if you sell our services to your customers. You earn commissions while we support you. You can join our BCISO team or our expert witness team. So if any of that is of interest to you, please reach out to us. And here is our contact information. So if you have questions, if you want to move forward, if you need help, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to do that. And, good luck in your business adventure. And we would love to assist you.
Thank you for watching. For more information or to purchase this or any other of our board or executive services, visit us at cybersecurity.com. Call us at 303-887-5864 or email us at rh@cybersecurity.com. Goodbye.